The atmosphere in the room is that you feel the power of your man. You know, the president's power, the guy on your side of the table, he's washing all over you.
You know, the deal that there was no real deal, no real trade deal that he walked away with was not that successful. So let's break it down. Soybeans good for farmers, but the problem is we're maybe going to levels that they were at before. It doesn't address the price of fertilizers and other supplies that the farmers, are reckoned with. We had the president say tariffs, add, remove, add, remove. That's chaos. That's confusion to the economy, to the markets, to the business owners, to the consumers. We also have a promise, a verbal promise, a handshake from China regarding fentanyl. Come on now.
You know, when the most sycophantic people and the most propagandistic news network in the country start calling you out, you've lost the plot. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Dollemore Daily. I'm your host, Boston Brian, for the final time here reporting for Jesse Dollemore as he makes his way back from his trip to Japan. I'd like to just thank you guys and thank Jesse one more time for allowing me this opportunity, and I'd like to thank you guys for, showing me such a warm welcome. I hope I've, made the channel proud, and I just want to thank you again for the opportunity. When you've lost Fox News, ladies and gentlemen, and again, it'll be proven later on in this video that he hasn't lost all of Fox News. Believe me, they still have their North Korea wing of the propaganda arm of Fox News firing on all cylinders. Jesse Waters, I think, is heading up that brigade at this point. But, this clip continues. They are calling out Donald Trump's meeting with Xi Jinping, the no deal signed, lowering the tariff on the fentanyl by half when nothing was actually shown to or proven to the United States, steps that were taken by China to mitigate the precursors to fentanyl to coming over to Mexico and then making its way from Mexico into the United States. Nothing but empty promises and empty words from a dictatorial, murderous authoritarian like Xi Jinping. And again, just a moron in Donald Trump who, is willing to just shake these people's hands and give them anything they want in return without seeing anything being put on the table by these people. They don't have to lift a finger, and that goes for Vladimir Putin as well. All he has to do, show up, sit in the spotlight, shake hands, smile. He doesn't have to answer any questions from reporters. He doesn't have to answer for any of the, aggression towards Taiwan or, in Vladimir Putin's case, the aggression towards Ukraine or the kidnapping of 20,000 plus Ukrainian children or the murder or maltreatment of the Uyghur people in China. I mean, it's things like this. There's pretty specific and glaring reasons as to why we don't just accept the word of brutal dictators. We just don't, we don't trust the things that they say. We have to actually see results. We have to see them actually trying to do something with their country before we give them any type of, praise or reward or anything like that. But I want to continue to play this clip here from Fox News because she's spitting fire and, she's calling out Donald Trump in every way she should. And again, it's really good to have the people that watch Fox News hear this type of thing because as you'll hear later on in the show, they're more used to clips like Jesse Waters and Lutnick, just praising the dear Fuhrer in a way that, again, would make North Korea throw up.
We know the problem isn't the fentanyl coming from China. It's the precursor to the fentanyl, which makes it deadly, which China has not been able to, promises galore, prevent from coming to countries like Mexico that end up where? Here in the United States of America. So this I don't feel is that successful. When you go from 100% to 57 to 47, you really have a 10% relief for the business owners and for the American consumers. And a lot of people out there are saying that this looks more like a win for China. And again, there's no solid deal. So we can't even talk about the devil in the details because we don't have that other than a handshake and some smile and photo ops.
Now, you just know there was some ketchup having to be cleaned up off the walls when Donald Trump saw this, wherever he was. But that's probably why Jesse Waters and Howard Lutnick decided to kick themselves into high gear, into their love, praise, admiration, and borderline inappropriate affection for Donald Trump. Again, the only word I could use for it is North Korea style propaganda, right? Where it's just clapping, as hard as you possibly can, as fast as you possibly can, while you have the biggest possible smile on your face. Or if something bad just happened, if you're not crying the loudest, the hottest, then you're not showing proper admiration and the proper love for your dear Fuhrer, and it's like these idiots don't recognize that a lot of these world leaders are showing respect to the office of the presidency, not the man that holds the office right now. You know what I mean? They're not going to sit there and disrespect the office of the presidency as much as they'd love to, as much as they probably do as soon as Donald Trump leaves the room. but because of the relationships between their country and the United States, global and economic trade, it's very important that these people keep the relationship between their country and the United States in a good place, which means, showing respect to the office of the president. But here's Jesse Waters and Howard Lutnick kicking off what has to be the biggest bootlicking tour I have ever seen in my life. I mean, the glowing praise coming from these two looks like they're about ready to get in line for a date with Donald Trump instead of, just kind of critiquing him as a president. Check this out and tell me if this doesn't make you sick to your stomach.
But are you kind of like kicking these guys a little bit, maybe like just a little bit? I mean, what's the atmosphere in that room?
Well, look, the atmosphere in the room is that you feel the power of your man. The president's power, the guy on your side of the table, he's washing all over you. So when he is strong and making the points, you feel good and we're up. So our president is really the strongest, most confident, able to deliver for the American people. And that's why it's so much fun to be on our side of the table.
He's just the biggest, strongest, most handsome, most talented. He never sleeps. He burns so much energy. He never uses the restroom. These people make me sick. The problem is it gets even worse, too. It gets even worse, and they have absolutely no shame while they do it. Like, here's Jesse Waters with what's supposed to pass as a serious critique of this meeting on Fox News, but rather just sounds like, again, another news corporation, another propaganda arm of the Republican Party, trying to do their best to stay on the good side of this regime and not end up in a gulag or have their press pass removed.
Trump had the upper hand from the start. He made sure to win the body language battle at the first handshake.
And we're going to have a very successful meeting, I have no doubt. But he's a very tough negotiator. That's not good.
Trump never took his eyes off this chat-com. During the meeting, she kept looking down at his papers. 47, staring him straight in the eyes. She knows who deserves a prize.
So who wants to be the one to tell Jesse what the president of China is doing there is called reading, something Jesse should probably look into after the show. But again, here they are doing their best to directly combat the previous segment that we heard where the conservative panel was rightly calling out Donald Trump for this useless, ineffective meeting in which he was just giving up certain things to, again, a dictatorial, authoritarian, murderous leader who did and gave nothing in return. Going to the leader of China with his hat in his hand, having to absolutely beg them to buy more soybeans, buy more this and that from the United States because the policies and the tariffs that have been put in place are putting farmers in the most precarious position they've been in since the last time Donald Trump was in office and the last time Donald Trump tried to make a trade deal with China, and China ended up, not even getting through a third of the trade deal, which ended up costing the U.S. taxpayers almost $30 billion in bailouts to the farmers. But again, listen to the way that they speak about Trump and praise Trump. I mean, it's borderline disgusting at this point. Like, it's so over the top and it's so dramatic and it's so in your face, sycophancy and cult-like behavior that it's almost taken itself to another level at this point. And if Howard Lutnick spends any more time on camera on Fox News, he's going to need a change of pants on the fly.
Chuck Schumer says Trump folded. Did he?
I have to tell you, the strength and power that comes from my president, I can't be prouder to sit with him. President Xi showed him so much respect, so much respect. It was impressive. It was, excellent. The president set out, what did he set out to do? He set out to make sure that rare earths kept flowing because this economy is on fire and we don't want anything to get in our way. He made a great deal with President Xi, and that's going to keep rolling. It was a master class on how to be classy, elegant, and the most powerful politician in the world.
Yes, classy and elegant. Famously, two words often associated with Donald Trump and his campaign. The guy known to shit his pants. The guy that once said he's allowed to grab women by the crotch without their consent because he's a star and they let you do it. The guy that once famously sicked his entire political party on the Capitol to stop the counting of a free and fair election. The guy that once had his party set up a gallows in front of the Capitol. Also the guy that says he doesn't care for veterans that have been captured, also calls them suckers and losers. But, classy, elegant, words clearly often used by people that aren't in the cult themselves. But this is just, the level of delusion from these people is off the charts. It's not a secret at this point, but, it's at least good to hear in the previous segment that at some point on Fox News, Donald Trump's bullshit is being rightly called out. People are pointing out the lack of trade deals. We heard this 90 deals in 90 days, and, everybody knows how that went. But, again, the people that watch Fox News on a regular basis, it's very important that they, at some point during the day, hear people call out Donald Trump and make sure that they know not everything they're hearing from this propaganda arm, not everything they're hearing from this campaign is the truth, and they need to do their research and make sure they're backing up the facts. But again, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your patience. Thank you so much for your warm welcome. Thank you, Jesse, for the opportunity to host this channel. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor, and I hope I can fill in for you again if there's ever the opportunity. Thank you guys so much for hitting that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you may. Give me a shot over on my channel here on YouTube, Boston Brian. I host a little podcast called Blunt Politics. Head over there, give me a shot if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, like some of the videos, hit me with the subscription. It would be very much appreciated. Thank you guys so much. Until I see you guys on the next one, stay loud, stay proud, stay aggressive, get out of your seats, get into the streets, find your nearest protest, find your nearest rally, but keep your head on a swivel out there. Make sure you're staying safe. Until the next time we meet, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Boston Brian. I really do appreciate it, and thank you for watching the Dollemore Daily. I'll catch you on the next one. Let's go.